If I hadn't, I would have been on that buzzer before him.
Do you think she's going to win?
She got a really good shot. After tonight, she was amazing.
Thank you so much, everyone, for voting for me and supporting me and just doing everything. I wouldn't have got here if it wasn't for you.
Courtney Hadwin once walked onto the stage as a shy young girl, but the moment she opened her mouth to sing, she stunned the entire world. Her powerful voice, deep emotions, and unforgettable stage presence captured the hearts of millions.
Congratulations, Courtney. What an incredible moment that must have been, seeing all of the gold tickers tape coming down and thinking, I've got through to the quarterfinals. It's just fantastic. But
she wasn't just singing, it felt like she was telling a story with every note. Even Simon Cowell, the toughest and most serious judge in the music world, couldn't help but be amazed. He smiled and told her, "Your interaction with the audience, your confidence. I think this has been my favorite performance of yours so far." It seemed like Courtney's future was shining bright, like a star shooting across the night sky. Everyone believed she was destined for greatness. But then, something unexpected happened, something no one saw coming. What started as a dream journey quickly turned into a heartbreaking struggle. Behind the curtains and bright lights, Courtney was facing battles that most people knew nothing about. Her health started to become a serious concern, and everything else had to take a back seat. The girl who once lit up the stage now had to focus on healing herself. When the news came out, it didn't just shock her fans, it shook Simon Cowell to his core. The man known for his tough, no-nonsense attitude was seen fighting back tears on live television. It was a rare and emotional moment that everyone watched with a heavy heart. How could someone so full of life and promise face such difficult times? Today, we take you through Courtney Hadwin's incredible rise, the hidden struggles she faced, and the unforgettable moment that brought Simon Cowell and the whole world to tears.
And thank you for believing in me from the very start. And my second favourite was getting to meet all the contestants. And my third favourite was how the public voted for me.
Get ready, because this is a story that will touch your heart in ways you never expected. The unbelievable first audition. Courtney Hadwin's journey to stardom began like something out of a fairy tale. No one could have guessed what was about to happen when she first walked onto the stage of America's Got Talent. She looked so small and shy, standing under those bright lights. Her hands were shaking slightly, and her eyes darted nervously around the massive theater. Even her voice, when she introduced herself to the judges, was soft and timid. Many people watching thought the same thing. Oh no, she's too nervous. What if she forgets her lyrics? What if she freezes? Even the judges exchanged quick glances, unsure of what to expect from this quiet teenager. In a show full of confident singers, dancers, and magicians, Courtney seemed out of place, almost too fragile for the high-pressure environment. But then, something truly magical happened. The music started to play, and within seconds, Courtney transformed right before everyone's eyes. It was as if a switch inside her had been flipped. Gone was the shy, trembling girl. In her place stood a powerhouse performer, bursting with energy, fire, and soul. Courtney sang like a true rock star. Her voice wasn't just good, it was electric. It crackled with raw emotion, surprising everyone in the room. She moved across the stage with a wild, free spirit, completely losing herself in the music. It was hard to believe that such a giant sound could come from someone so young and so unassuming just moments before. The judges sat there stunned, mouths open, hardly able to believe what they were witnessing. Howie Mandel didn't even hesitate. With a huge smile on his face, he reached out and smashed the golden buzzer, a move that instantly sent Courtney straight to the live shows, skipping all the difficult rounds in between. As golden confetti rained down from the ceiling, the crowd jumped to their feet, cheering and clapping as loudly as they could. Simon Cowell, who is known all over the world for being extremely hard to impress, had a rare expression on his face, pure amazement. Simon, who normally looks serious and even a little bit bored, was smiling from ear to ear. It was clear that Courtney had touched something deep inside him, something that only the greatest performers managed to reach. As the camera zoomed in on Courtney's face, you could see the disbelief in her eyes. She looked around, trying to understand what had just happened. The shy girl who had nervously walked onto the stage just minutes earlier was now standing under golden lights, being celebrated like a superstar. Her audition video quickly exploded online. Within hours, millions of people had watched it on YouTube and social media. Comments flooded in from all over the world. People couldn't get enough of her incredible voice, her raw passion, and her inspiring transformation.
I just feel so proud of myself to be able to get here. I've just had an amazing journey, and it's not the end.
It's definitely not the end. If anything, this is just another stop.
Fans wrote things like, "I got chills listening to her," and "This is the birth of a legend." News outlets picked up the story. Morning shows replayed her audition, calling her a once-in-a-generation talent. Even celebrities started tweeting about Courtney, praising her bravery and her unbelievable voice. For a young girl from a small town in England, it must have felt like waking up in a different world, a world where dreams really could come true. Courtney's performance wasn't just about singing, it was about breaking free. It was about showing everyone that no matter how scared you feel on the inside, you can still rise to the occasion and shine brighter than you ever thought possible. Her audition inspired not just fans of the show, but millions of young people everywhere who have ever felt too shy or too scared to chase their dreams. That unforgettable first audition didn't just launch Courtney's career, it touched hearts all over the globe. It reminded everyone why we love shows like America's Got Talent in the first place. Because once in a while, when the right person steps onto that stage, magic does happen. Courtney Hadwin, the shy teenager with the powerhouse voice, had officially become a star. But as we would later learn, even the brightest stars sometimes have to face the darkest storms, the pressure of fame at a young age. While it looked like Courtney Hadwin was living every teenager's dream, the reality behind the cameras was something very different, something much heavier. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. She had millions of fans, her videos were going viral, and people were calling her the next big thing in music. But behind her bright smile, Courtney was quietly fighting a battle that very few could see. Becoming famous overnight is not an easy thing, especially for someone so young. Courtney was just a teenager, still figuring out who she was, when suddenly the whole world knew her name. She was thrown into the spotlight with no time to prepare. Everyone expected her to be perfect every time she sang, smiled, or even walked onto a stage.
She is unique. She is like no other that you can't. I can compare her to somebody who's not around anymore, Janis Joplin, but there's nobody alive today on stage that can compete with her.
The cameras were always rolling. The interviews never stopped. Reporters asked her the same questions over and over again. Fans wanted pictures and autographs everywhere she went. Even when she was tired, sad, or just wanted a quiet moment to herself, there was always someone watching, someone judging. At first, Courtney tried to keep up. She loved singing, and she didn't want to let anyone down. But after a while, all the pressure started to weigh her down. Instead of enjoying her success, Courtney began to feel trapped inside it. The stage, which once felt like a safe place where she could express herself, now started to feel like a prison. The joy she once found in performing began to fade, hidden under piles of stress and anxiety. Imagine being only 14 or 15 years old and having millions of people watch your every move, waiting for you to make a mistake. Imagine knowing that one wrong note or one bad performance could turn fans into critics overnight. That kind of pressure is hard even for adults, but Courtney was still just a kid. She didn't have years of experience to protect her. She didn't have a thick wall to keep the hurtful words out. Every comment, every headline, every expectation felt personal. Courtney started feeling overwhelmed more and more often. The excitement that once filled her heart before stepping onto a stage was replaced with a heavy feeling of fear. What if she wasn't good enough? What if she disappointed the very people who believed in her? Little by little, Courtney's health began to suffer. At first, it was small things, feeling tired all the time, losing her appetite, having trouble sleeping at night. These signs were easy to miss, because on the outside, she was still smiling for the cameras, still hitting the right notes. But inside, the pressure was building like a storm waiting to break. Sadly, very few people noticed what was happening. In the world of entertainment, where the show must always go on, no one likes to slow down and ask if the performers are okay. Courtney didn't want to seem ungrateful or weak, so she kept pushing forward, even when her body and mind were begging her to rest. Behind the scenes, Courtney's parents and a few close friends saw the change. They tried to support her as best they could, reminding her that it was okay to take breaks and to say no sometimes. But the world of fame moves fast, and it doesn't wait for anyone to catch their breath. Courtney's story is a powerful reminder that success comes with a price, and sometimes that price is too high for young shoulders to carry. It shows how easy it is to look at someone's life through a screen and think they have it all, without realizing the silent battles they are fighting behind the scenes. As Courtney continued her journey, it became clear that the dream she had once chased with so much excitement was now mixed with fear and sadness. She still loved music, that passion never went away, but the pressure of fame at such a young age had left deep marks on her spirit. The world saw a shining star on stage, but off stage, Courtney Hadwin was just a young girl struggling to hold herself together in a world that expected her to always shine. The hidden struggles no one saw. As Courtney's star continued to rise, something started to change behind the scenes, something that no one could see. To the world, she was the bright, shining teenager with a voice that could captivate anyone. But inside, Courtney was silently battling a storm that no one knew about. She was fighting something deep, something real, anxiety, fear, and the constant worry that she wasn't good enough. The pressure of being in the public eye took its toll on her mental health. In interviews, Courtney seemed quieter and more reserved than before. The shy girl who had first stepped onto America's Got Talent stage had become even more withdrawn, and people began to notice. She had always been soft-spoken, but now there was a heaviness in her voice, a sense that something was wrong. When she performed, she still gave her all, pouring her heart and soul into every note.
All right, but another standout from last night, our girl, Courtney Hadwin. She's been a viral superstar from the beginning, and the 14-year-old brought everyone to their feet last night, but was it enough to put her across the finish line?
But those who truly watched her closely could see the sadness behind her eyes. The bright spark that once lit up the stage seemed to be dimming little by little. Her fans couldn't ignore it. The energy was still there in her voice, but her heart seemed burdened by something much bigger than the spotlight. Courtney was struggling in ways that many of her fans didn't understand. They saw her on TV, smiling, singing, and living the dream they had all hoped for. But behind closed doors, she was dealing with a constant battle. It wasn't just the pressure of performing or worrying about disappointing her fans. It was the weight of expectations that were growing heavier by the day. Expectations to be perfect, to always be on, and to always deliver. For a teenager like Courtney, this was an overwhelming experience. The world expected her to always be on, to look perfect, sound perfect, and behave perfectly. But behind the glossy exterior, there were cracks forming. She was still trying to figure out who she was, trying to balance the girl she was before the fame with the person the world wanted her to be. The thing about rising to fame so quickly is that you don't get time to grow up at your own pace. It's as if everything in your life is sped up: the decisions, the expectations, the pressures. And for someone as young as Courtney, this was even harder to handle. She hadn't had the chance to experience the normal struggles of adolescence, the ups and downs that help shape who you are. Instead, everything was happening in front of millions of people who had an opinion on every part of her life. Courtney's team, who had supported her from the beginning, tried their best to protect her privacy. They understood that the stress she was under wasn't just about the fame, it was the emotional and mental toll it was taking on her. They tried to shield her from the rumors that were swirling, but as her struggles became harder to hide, people started talking. Some fans speculated that Courtney might be taking a break, while others worried that something more serious was going on. The pressure to always look happy and together made it difficult for Courtney to open up. It felt like she couldn't let her guard down even for a moment. Behind the stage lights, she was exhausted physically and mentally. The bright future that once seemed so full of possibility was now clouded by the weight of her own thoughts. The truth was even more heartbreaking than anyone realized. Courtney wasn't taking a break because she was lazy or uninterested. She wasn't hiding away because she didn't care about her fans. She needed time to heal, time to deal with the mental and emotional exhaustion that had built up over the past year. The fame, the pressure, and the constant expectation to be perfect had slowly drained her. Courtney needed to find herself again, to rediscover the joy in music that had once been so pure. But the world didn't always understand this. People assumed the worst, that she was lazy, or that her success had gone to her head. They didn't realize that beneath the surface, Courtney was struggling in ways that many couldn't even imagine. The pressure of living up to everyone's expectations was breaking her down, and all she wanted was the time and space to heal, to find peace, and to return to the girl who first stepped onto that stage with nothing but a love for music. Courtney's struggle is a reminder that fame is not as glamorous as it appears from the outside. It comes with its own set of battles that are often hidden from the world. And for someone so young, those battles can sometimes feel impossible to win. Courtney Hadwin's story is a testament to the strength it takes to survive the pressure of fame, even when it seems like everything around you is falling apart. The shocking moment on live TV. The world didn't truly understand how serious Courtney Hadwin's situation had become until one unforgettable moment on live television. It was a special event, a night where past stars returned to perform and celebrate the legacy of America's Got Talent. Courtney was supposed to be one of those stars, a moment for her to shine again, to show the world why she had captured so many hearts with her powerful voice. But as the night unfolded, what everyone expected to be a happy and celebratory performance quickly turned into something much more emotional and raw. Instead of hearing the usual upbeat announcement about Courtney's return to the stage, something unexpected happened. The camera panned to the judges' table where Simon Cowell, known for his no-nonsense tough guy persona, was sitting. He looked different. There was a noticeable weight on his shoulders, and his usual confident, cool demeanor had been replaced by something hard to ignore. Simon's face, usually stone-faced and unflappable, was now filled with emotion. As the moment grew more intense, Simon began to speak about Courtney, his voice cracking in a way that no one had ever heard before. For someone who had always been seen as the harshest, most critical judge in the history of America's Got Talent, this was a shock to everyone watching. Simon Cowell, the man who had made careers and broken hearts on national television, was struggling to hold back tears in front of millions. Simon, usually the one to deliver blunt opinions, could hardly find the words to express how much Courtney meant to him. He started by praising her incredible talent. He called her one of the most unique and extraordinary performers he had ever had the privilege of working with. But then, the words that followed stunned everyone in the room and across the world. Her health is the most important thing right now. Those simple words, spoken by Simon Cowell, the man who was often labeled as tough, harsh, and unbothered by emotions, hit like a wave. It was a moment of vulnerability and honesty that no one could have predicted. It showed that Simon cared about Courtney far more than just her performances or the applause she received from audiences. For the first time, he wasn't speaking about her as an artist or a contestant. He was speaking about her as a human being, It wasn't just Simon who was moved. The entire audience fell silent as they realized the gravity of the situation. In that moment, the lights, the cameras, and the cheering fans all seemed to disappear. Everyone was holding their breath, waiting for what would come next. Fans who were watching from home, many of whom had grown to love Courtney over the years, were equally stunned. Many admitted later that they were moved to tears themselves. It wasn't just a performance that had touched them, it was the raw emotion, the realness, and the acknowledgement that behind the talent, there was a young woman who needed time to heal. This wasn't about ratings or creating a dramatic moment for television. It was about someone who had been pushed to the limit, someone who had given so much to the world but was now struggling in ways that were invisible to the public eye. And in that one moment on live TV, the world saw the human side of Simon Cowell. The tough exterior was gone, replaced by someone who deeply cared for the well-being of a young artist he had watched grow from a shy girl to a superstar. The emotional announcement sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. It was one of the rawest and most emotional moments ever seen on live television. People who had seen Courtney's performances in the past couldn't help but feel a deep sense of empathy for her. It was a reminder that behind every famous face, every performance, every headline, there's a real person with struggles, emotions, and battles that are often kept hidden. For Courtney, this was a moment of both public acknowledgement and private pain. It was clear that Simon Cowell, despite his reputation as a tough judge, saw the importance of Courtney's health and well-being above all else. The public, too, began to understand the pressure she had been under and the toll it had taken on her. It wasn't just about a performance anymore, it was about a young girl who needed support and time to heal. In a world where fame often overshadows the person behind the name, this moment served as a powerful reminder that even the brightest stars are human. They face challenges, struggles, and moments of weakness just like everyone else. And in Courtney Hadwin's case, the truth was finally revealed that her health, both mental and physical, needed to come first. Where is Courtney Hadwin now? After stepping away from the bright lights of the stage, Courtney Hadwin took the time she needed to focus completely on her recovery. For the first time in years, she was no longer under the intense pressure of performing, being watched by millions, and living up to the expectations that fame brings. Instead, she chose to prioritize her health, her happiness, and reconnect with the music that had originally inspired her to dream big. The journey to recovery wasn't easy. Stepping away from the spotlight meant stepping away from the life she had once known. A life filled with flashing cameras, constant interviews, and fans who couldn't wait to hear her sing. But Courtney was smart enough to know that without taking care of herself first, she wouldn't be able to give her best to her music, her fans, or even herself. So, she took a deep breath, stepped back, and put herself first. Though she stayed mostly quiet on social media, she offered small updates here and there. These updates weren't the flashy, attention-grabbing posts you might expect from a rising star. Instead, they were simple glimpses into her life as she worked hard to reclaim her joy. Many of the posts showed her in quiet moments, writing songs or playing music at her own pace. Fans noticed that her posts had a calmness and peace about them. It was clear that Courtney was working on her passion again, but this time, it was on her terms. She was no longer performing for the cameras or the crowds. She was simply writing from her heart, reconnecting with the music that had first sparked her love for performing. Fans who had watched her rise to fame never stopped supporting her. Many continued to send messages of love and encouragement, hoping that Courtney would one day return to the stage when she was truly ready. They understood that sometimes the hardest thing for a young artist to do is step away from the spotlight and focus on what matters most. And while some fans may have felt sad or disappointed that Courtney wasn't performing, most of them respected her decision and recognized how important it was for her to heal first. Courtney's story is a powerful reminder that even the brightest stars sometimes need time to heal. We often see celebrities and performers as larger-than-life figures, but behind their fame, they are just like everyone else. They experience struggles, face pressures, and have moments of vulnerability. Fame might be wonderful, but it doesn't change the fact that health, both mental and physical, is the most important thing. Courtney's decision to step back from the limelight was a brave one, and it was a sign of her strength. She chose to protect herself, even if it meant disappointing fans or stepping away from her career for a while. Today, Courtney is stronger, wiser, and preparing for a new chapter in her life. While she isn't actively performing or making big public appearances, she's still creating music in her own space, away from the spotlight. She's growing as an artist, as a person, and finding the balance between her love for music and her need for self-care. When she does choose to return, it will be on her terms, and fans are ready to support her every step of the way. Courtney Hadwin's journey may not be a traditional one, but it's her own unique story, and it inspires all of us to take a step back when life becomes too overwhelming. Courtney Hadwin's story is not just about fame, talent, or success. It's about strength, courage, and finding yourself even when the whole world is watching. She showed us that behind every big performance, there is a real person with real feelings. When Simon Cowell, the toughest judge, broke down in tears, it wasn't just about losing a great performer. It was about realizing how important it is to care for the people we admire. Talent can amaze us, but kindness and understanding touch our hearts even more. Courtney may have stepped away from the spotlight, but she has left behind a powerful message, one that tells us it's okay to slow down, to take care of ourselves, and to put health first, no matter what the world expects from us. As fans, we hope to see Courtney light up the stage again someday. But more than anything, we want her to be happy, healthy, and strong, because at the end of the day, that's what truly matters. Thank you, Courtney, for sharing your gift with us. Thank you, Simon, for reminding the world that even in the toughest places, there is room for compassion and love. This story isn't just Courtney's, it belongs to all of us who have ever faced tough times and found a way to shine through.